Dragon Ball FighterZ has had a pretty full roster since day one, with only more characters being added on through DLC, but you can only fight in teams of up to 3. So you have to be pretty critical when making your decision. As I played the game, I found out which characters work really well for me and which ones almost guarantee me a loss. Today I'm going to be listing off these characters, based on the non-DLC roster though, because I'm not spending $5 on Refrigerator over here. The strongest in the universe! And keep in mind that these are my personal picks based off of what works for me, so I might just be trash at a character that you're great at. Let's get the bad stuff out of the way first and talk about the 3 fighters I'm the worst at. Trunks is a weird character to me because he has a literal sword, which can cut off people's limbs. So I feel like he really shouldn't lose to all of these fist fighters, but I guess when you have a bad player at the helm, it doesn't work out like that. Trunks is kind of a basic fighter in general, which again is strange because he has a sword and I feel like the programmers could have done some cool stuff with that. His simplicity is nice in a way because you don't have to study his moveset for hours, but his attacks never seem to have a significant impact. And for me, I rely a lot on landing devastating supers to win a match, so it's pretty rough to go through a match and never be able to land a level 3 super. He says they need to be stopped and yet he never stops them. While Trunks is too boring and simplistic, Frieza is at the opposite end of the spectrum with a moveset that I just can't seem to use right. My dad and sister are both really good at him and they always nail me with laser beams and his stupid butt ball thingy. Even though his moves are pretty powerful, I never know when to use them. The only one I can pull off well is his level 1 super, which has caught my family off guard before. I'm not completely sure why the other moves don't work for me. I guess I just don't know how to use them effectively. Now, it is definitely not a mystery as to why this next fighter doesn't work for me. My problem with Nappa is that he's just too thick. By that, I mean he's slow. He's slow because he's gigantic. I've always preferred the more offensive, fast-moving characters that can rush in with attack after attack, rather than the slower ones that lay back before doing one big attack. My dad is a good Nappa fighter, and that explains a lot because Zangief is his best character in Street Fighter. So, because I'm terrible with Zangief, it's not a surprise that I'm terrible with Nappa. For this one, I think it really comes down to just my playstyle and abilities, although they could have given Nappa a bit of a speed boost, especially in a game like FighterZ where there's a lot of flying and rapid punching. We got the dirty work out of the way, now let's talk about some of my best fighters. I'm not very well versed in Dragon Ball knowledge, so I pretty much go off of first impressions when picking my characters. When I first played FighterZ, Majin Buu was my first choice because I don't need to tell you why, he's just great. I found out though that his kid form was a lot more effective at causing mass destruction, so of course I opted for that one instead. For me, Kid Buu is a great balance of being fast and strong. His stretchy body works to get him across the board and up in his opponent's face, and when I'm stuck on the other side, his candy beam always seems to do the trick. I can never seem to use Kid Buu's level 1 super as well, but I almost always land his level 3 super, and it's an effective and pretty awesome way to end a match. Going from someone as unhinged as Kid Buu to a cold assassin like Hit may seem like a weird choice, and I agree. It is kinda weird. I don't really know why I got so attached to Hit. I've never cared for overly serious characters, especially in anime-style stories, and Hit can be kind of a heavy character to play. Maybe it was because I recognized him from one of the few Super episodes I saw where he tries to kill Goku. Maybe it was because of his really cool catchphrases.
Now then, it's time for me to make the donuts.
Maybe it was even his jazzy theme. Either way, once I got a hold of Hit, I was able to take down any foe with my cool stance. While Hit doesn't technically time skip in the game because that would be kind of unfair, the way he shoots across the board is effective at tricking opponents, even if he still takes the same amount of time to travel in the end. And using cool glowy crystals is more interesting than the generic energy beam most characters have, as well as being harder to spot and dodge in a fight. Like Kid Buu, I've never found his level 1 supers to be all that useful, but his level 3 super can easily end a fight because this is the stance. At this point, you may be wondering who my top fighter will be. I've already listed off a super powerful alien psychopath and a cold-blooded pro assassin. Who could possibly surpass such mighty warriors? Do you even have to ask? You should know the answer by now. I'm talking about one of the most powerful beings in the Dragon Ball universe. The man who goes by the name of Yamcha! Yamcha is one of the greatest fighters in Fighter Z. No, one of the greatest fighters of all time. When he pulls out that Neo Wolf Fang fist and hits that How, you know it's all okay, the bad joke's over, don't click off the video. My actual number one pick is still somewhat surprising considering the last two fighters. Tien was a surprising favorite of mine. Again, there's not all that much about him that's interesting in my opinion, at least from my limited Dragon Ball knowledge, but he's a really good fighter and I've been able to become pretty unstoppable with him. A lot of his best moves for me are, oddly enough, the joke ones like the volleyball fist and the Chiaotzu sacrifice, but they're still great moves that can catch your opponent off guard nonetheless. Tien's rapid karate chops are also a favorite of mine, and he's able to make it look pretty cool, despite it seeming mundane in comparison to some of the moves fighters like Beerus or Cell pull off. And although it is a little bit boring that Tien does a tri-beam for his level 1 and level 3 super, it doesn't make the move any less powerful or awesome. I've never been able to pull it off, but I know one match I'm going to beat my opponent's brain in with the level 7 tri-beam attack. That wraps up my top 3 best and top 3 worst fighters from Dragon Ball FighterZ. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Check out my channel for more Dragon Ball and video game content. Subscribe so you'll know when my next video comes out, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!